Hey guys, what is up? It's TotalXclipse here, and today's video is all about the updates we'll be seeing in tomorrow's free division update called the Conflict, and what we're going to need to know in advance. Now, I'm going to be squeezing an hour-long video into a very short video, so please bear with me. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. I will get back to you as soon as possible. Now, firstly, the update will include a new incursion called Clear Sky, which will be set in the Columbus Circle, which is the northwest side of the map, and this is where an abandoned LMB air-to-surface missile site has been taken over by Rikers, and your mission is to secure the area. Now, this incursion will have checkpoints, and it has a recommended minimum gear score level of 160. Now, because the site is outside, that will mean that we have to cope with the environment as well. So watch out for the blizzards, as that may reduce your vision, for example, but the developers have stated that the most extreme fog and blizzard conditions will be removed, so don't worry too much. Now, on the subject of gear score, we will also be seeing a new dark zone bracket for those who have gear score above 200, and this dark zone bracket will spawn level 34 NPCs in the furthest northern zones. Now, as with higher level enemies, they will be more likely to drop the higher level loot, and the best place for getting the top gear will be here, and that gear score will be of 240, for example, as well as all the rest of the slightly lower levels. Now, also, we will be seeing a lot more loot drops in general, as well as being given a new drop item called a cache. Now, these caches need to be extracted before opening, but can contain multiple high-end items, as well as dark zone credits and crafting material. Now, on top of these changes, we will also be seeing stashes at all dark zone checkpoints, which will increase your longevity in the dark zone, and especially when we're doing long loot runs and we just pop off to a checkpoint to both reload and clear our stash and then go back in. Now, another major update for the dark zone is that players are now able to hijack other people's items upon extraction. Now, hijacking the extraction will cut all items and release them to the floor, so there's no point placing your item onto the rope only to cut it off, so be warned. As you will not be able to pick up all the items if you have a full inventory. Now, cutting the rope will take a good few seconds to cut, and more so if you're being shot at, which I should point out, as soon as you start cutting the rope, you will become rogue. Now, I don't recommend doing this unless there's no one around or you have a team. If you're going to do it solo, make sure you have full health, make sure you're running the signature perk that gives you high increased damage resistance. You're going to need that. This is going to be making the extraction point even more intense, and will mean players will have to defend their goods until the helicopter's been flown off. Now, there is a possible counter where I recommend only attaching your contaminated items in the last, for example, 10 seconds rather than right at the beginning of the first minute, where you have to wait for all that time. Now, there are also 3 other major updates with a conflict update, including 2 mission types. We have search and destroy and high value target missions, and we will also be seeing 4 new gear sets, which do seem rather OP. So the search and destroy missions are highly rewarding for new level 30 players, but for those of you who, like myself, have been level 30 for a while, have no fear, there's still something for you. Now, these missions are set throughout Manhattan and are unlocked by completing all the side missions and end content in the named zone. Now, this isn't going to be in the dark zone. Now, you don't need to worry about finding all the pieces of intel, it's literally just the side missions and end content. Now, this mission will see you take out a group of enemies to retrieve data which is called target intel, and is essentially a new currency specifically developed for gaining access to high value target missions, which we will go on to in a little bit. Now, one name zone at a time will become a critical zone. Now these critical zones will give us extra currency for completing, and it does give us a reason to do the side missions and end content in all the named zones. And as soon as you complete a critical zone, another zone will become critical. That way you can keep farming critical zones if you should want to. Now I should also mention that if you clear 3 areas, you can go back to the intel board and you will also gain 2 tokens as a bonus. Now we don't know if this is composite, so if you do 6 areas for example, we don't know if you're going to get 4 bonus points or just the 2. I'd like to think it's the 4 bonus points, but we'll find out tomorrow, I'm sure. Doing these missions is also a great chance for you to visit all the material locations outside the Dark Zone. And this is great because you'll also be completing a mission at the same time. Now you can also get the 240 level gear stat items doing these missions, but the harder the mission type, which we'll talk about later, the better the chances of getting a high-end item, obviously. Now if you manage to collect enough intel tokens, you'll be able to visit one of the 2 NPCs at the base of operations, one of them being Nick Fury. Okay, come on. He looks like he's wearing an eye patch, and it would definitely suit his job role if Shield's fallen in this post-apocalyptic world. Now anyway, these missions require you to spend the tokens on a given mission in order to take on the contract. Now once you've selected a contract, a countdown will begin and you will have to hunt down the given enemy within the time limit. Otherwise you will fail the mission and you will have to buy out the contract again. Now these NPCs are more difficult, level 30 elite enemies, and they will drop some sweet rewards. And these rewards can range from high level items to gear set items, for example. And it is important to note that there are daily missions as well as weekly assignments for the high value target missions. Now the latter obviously being more difficult and will most likely require you to do it with a team. So if you've got a team, I recommend going straight to them as soon as possible. 4 new gear sets that we will be seeing will focus on changing people's playstyles, and if you ask me, are incredibly overpowered. Now the new gear sets are as follows. So the first set we have is Final Measure. Now Final Measure gear sets are focused on tank gameplay. A player with 2 of these items will gain plus 50% exotic damage resistance, and when you gain 3 items, a plus 15% damage resistance from elites as well, and with 4 items you gain the Final Measure perk. Now with this perk, every time you damage a player or NPC with a grenade, you gain the defuse perk as well, allowing you to walk into an explosive radius and instantly defuse a single hostile grenade or mortar shot and replenish your grenade inventory by 1. Now it is important to mention that they have not mentioned a cooldown, so you could literally just play the whole game lobbing grenades. Now it's going to be great for healing your allies, especially if they're downed and a grenade lands next to them. You can go over there, heal them, pick up the grenade and chuck it back at the enemy. Pretty epic, I know. Also, it's going to be incredibly useful for incursions, seeing as a single mortar shot can take out the whole team. All you need to do is, with 4 items, walk into that explosive zone and you literally just defuse it there and then. It's going to be very important for teamwork. Next up we have the Hunter's Faith gear sets. Now with 2 items you will automatically gain plus 20% critical hit damage with the marksman rifles. This is essentially the sniper's gear set, and I do believe it's going to be in working hand with also the Sentry's Call. So if you still have the 2 items from Sentry's Call, which I have, I do believe it gives you 20% plus damage to your character. So with that, you're going to be able to do a huge amount of critical hit damage with your sniper rifles. Also with 3 items, you will gain 20% damage to elites, and with 4 items you gain the Hunter's Faith perk, which allows you with every bullet hit on an enemy to give you armor. Now the amount is based on the range from which the enemy target was hit, so the greater the range the more armor, and it's also important to note that it only lasts for one shot. So if an enemy shoots at you and hits you, you automatically lose all that armor until you shoot someone else again. So this is going to be really good for snipers who stay far away from the combat, as that will not only give them a huge amount of armor, but you'll be concentrating on the long shots. And if you get shot, the chances are you're not going to be shot as much as someone who's up close and personal. Now, Lone Star is the next gear set, and with 2 items it gives you an extra 100% ammunition capacity. Now with 3 items you gain 1k damage with light machine guns and shotguns, and with 4 items you also gain the ability to automatically reload your holstered weapon. Yes, I know, this is terribly OP. Imagine playing with 2 shotguns. All you need to do is shoot all your shotguns at one person, change to your other shotgun, fire them off, and you've already reloaded your primary shotgun. Take that out, kill someone. Why do this to me, the Division? Why? Same with the light machine gun. Well, this works with every weapon, but with the light machine guns, obviously you're going to find it a lot easier to pin down enemies if you can reload instantly. I'm just worried about what this is going to do to the player versus player aspect in game. I mean, currently we have lots of people using LMGs, SMGs, and we'll probably see that still happen. Maybe even people going out with 2 SMGs, and just think of that damage, no reload time, just grab another SMG and kill someone. It's going to be ridiculous. Or the same with shotguns, it doesn't fix the game at all. I'm a bit annoyed about that perk, to be honest. And last but not least, we also have Predator's Mark. Now with 2 items you gain plus 20% optimum range, which may be great for people who use low range weapons such as submachine guns or now shotguns, as you do lose a fair amount of damage the further out of range you go. And with 3 items you also gain 800 damage to use an assault rifle and 700 pistol damage as well. And with 4 items you gain the Predator's Mark perk, which if you hit an enemy 10 times without swapping targets at any point, you will inflict bleeding wounds for 100% of the damage already done. This is one of those skills that is going to be great for Dark Zone combat if Lone Star doesn't kill the game, but it also can be quite easily countered with a tank who's gone with Final Measure, for example, and automatically you lose that 100% bleed damage. It'll automatically drop to 50% if you have 2 items from the Final Measure gear set. Now anyway, that's all we have time for. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If you did, obviously subscribe if you want to see more. If you want to know more, have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. I will get back to you as soon as possible. Anyway guys, thank you for watching my video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.